Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call a special meeting of council to order Monday, July 27th, 2020. Approval of the agenda, please. Councilor Over.
Of the Monday, July 27th, 2020 special council meeting agenda be adopted as presented.
Seconder, Councilor Lehman. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Okay, new business 3.1, BC Housing Units, Chamberlain Crescent. We recently had a meeting. Councilor Krukowka and Councilor Overy attended. So, Councilor Krukowka, did you want to update us a little bit, please?
Yeah, so we had a meeting with the Hospice Society here in Chambers last Tuesday. And just, there's some concerns about what BC Housing is looking at doing in regards to the demolishing all the building units down there. When they were here, like they said, there's quite a bit of investment in the 2 units they have. One has already been vacated, and the other one has still got 2 local residents in it. They were thinking of vacating possibly before the end of July. I actually told them to stay there because the government put a policy they can't kick anybody out until September. So their biggest concern is the investment that the District of Tunbridge had done with BC Housing and the hospice to renovate the 2 units down there. The one lady that is staying in one of the units down there was at the meeting. She sits on the board, and like she says, she has went into other units and they don't look bad to her. So talking, and Councilor Bay was there, but talking with Ms. Torval, there's discussion maybe getting a hold of BC Housing to see if we could get permission from them to allow our building inspector to go in and have a look at all these units. Talking with the hospice, there was some comments maybe made from BC Housing that they'd be willing to give it to a not-for-profit society. I don't know if that's something the district wants to get into or the not-for-profit society wants to take on. But I think it's worth putting a motion on the floor and seeing if BC Housing would let a building inspector go there to see what they're looking at and why they'd be demolishing. I know we're waiting for them. I believe it's August 17th to attend in front of council or via phone or whatever. But this might give us some information that we can use in the meeting. You know, maybe it is worse than we all. I don't know. I've never been down. I haven't been inside of, so maybe there is some concerns. I think maybe it's a benefit.
Yeah. Councilor Overy, did you want to go ahead?
Yeah, I'll add into that. I mean, I think Councilor Krukowka summed it up pretty well. Yeah, the sort of the burning question, you know, at least in my mind and around the room, was what happened. We all sort of had that same thought, like what happened between when they came to talk to us versus now where we're hearing rumors of them demolishing. And Councilor Krukowka made a great suggestion of utilizing the BRRD's building inspector or our building inspector to go in to see really what's going on, because if there are units that are serviceable, why would we be demolishing them? Maybe there's something that we can't see, and it might be worthwhile. I think it is worthwhile to have a third party go in there and take a look.
Okay. Councilor Krukowka.
Yeah, so I'll put a motion on the floor that we direct staff to contact BC Housing to get authorization to allow the building inspector that District of Tunbridge uses.
Seconder, Councilor Brzezinski. Any more comments? Councilor Howe.
Did you guys have any conversations with BC Housing about asking? There's been no, so this will be right out of left field that we're looking for a building inspector to come in and have a look at the units? They won't know about it?
Councilor Krukowka.
Well, I think staff's already made BC Housing aware to our last conversation in regards to these units. We made a discussion, directed staff to get a hold of BC Housing, let them know that we wanted them to come before council or see us before they moved ahead. Well, they told us they were doing it, but they haven't until we heard about these evictions. So I think it's just something that maybe we can get some information for our side for when they do have that. We do have that meeting.
Yeah.
Then maybe they are that bad.
Councilor Howe.
Yeah, just for clarity, you guys never had meetings with BC Housing, you had meetings with the Hospice Society down there? Okay.
The meeting was here.
Oh, sorry.
The meeting, sorry,
Yeah,
the actual
that's who it
meeting.
was with? Okay.
Yeah.
Ms. Torval, would you be able to add to the conversation? Have you been in touch with BC Housing at all? And they are planning to come to our August meeting?
Yes, that was the last word from them. Yes.
And did they indicate anything in regards to demolition or their plans?
Well, they did confirm, I believe, that they're going to be demolishing all the units.
And you were saying to me previously about how BC Housing has tracked the statistics on it and shows that Tumbler Ridge isn't a very high demand for these units. units.
That's right, yeah, that's correct, Mayor Bertrand. They did say that there wasn't a huge demand for those housing units, and that, in fact, he said even the Hartford Court units, there's vacancy over there, so, yeah.
Councillor Calkin.
Yeah, so I mean, we had that comment with them when they were here that there wasn't a big uptick on using them. I don't think they're advertised well. You know, I know people in town, low income, that could probably use it, but probably unaware that we have them. And when we talk about the Hartford Court, when it was first built, they had some stipulations in there. If you had too much investment in your accounts and stuff like that, you couldn't get access to it. I know that has been changed a bit, and I think that's why you see more and more people in there. In the same aspect, I think that's an asset to our community to have that Hartford Court. I also think it's an asset to have the housing down chain.
Absolutely. Ms. Toro, can you explain to us the process to apply for those units?
Yes, I believe you go online to their website and BC Housing and apply through there.
So it's directly an application through BC Housing?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, thank you. Any other, Councillor Howe?
So do we know if BC Housing has had their own building inspector go through it?
Ms. Toro?
Yes, that was what was indicated to me. They did do some sort of an inspection and deemed that the facilities weren't worthy to be kept. They need to be demolished, and that it would cost more to repair them than to demolish them.
Councillor Howe?
So just for clarity, we have had a professional go in, not us, but they have had a professional go in and assess these units and say they're unfit.
On hearsay, until BC Housing comes to us, we're assuming, I think.
So, sorry.
Go ahead.
So our idea then would be to, just so I can wrap my head around this, I'm trying to think about it if somebody was coming into my house to do something like this. That's how I've been taking it, looking at it. But the idea here is we're just going to ask them, would you mind if we sent our own building inspector from the Peace River Regional District to have a look at it? And if they say, yeah, sure, go ahead, then we'll have that information for when they come in on August 17th. That's the idea that we're going with here?
I believe so.
Okay.
Councillor Calkin?
Yeah, that's the idea. I'm going with them.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not saying I'm gonna, but the other aspect of that is, to me, if we have some information on that and we have that discussion with them that they say, I'm not sure how many units down there. I honestly don't, but let's say there's 15 units down there. 10 of them absolutely have to come down, but they don't want to have the liability anymore. And maybe an not-for-profit wants to take on the other 5 units.
Gotcha.
So that was the reason I thought, instead of somebody taking on some liability, if we hadn't looked at them, we would know as well.
Any other comments? Call the question, all in favor? Carried, thank you. Okay, 3.2, dinosaur opportunity auction. So this auction has come up as an opportunity, I guess, and just curious on council's thoughts. Councillor Calkin?
Yeah, so I want to start off actually. This was Councillor Howe's idea a few weeks ago. He was going to try and bring it onto one of our agendas. And I think we just got into some discussions and we forgot to do it. But I've seen it on via Facebook myself. I know I've talked to Zita at the museum. Obviously heard from a few residents and stuff. So that's why I asked Ms. Dorwell just to put it on so we have a discussion. So I'm not sure if Will has anything, but if not, maybe John.
Okay. Any other comments? Councillor Howe?
So I'll just throw out the thought process I had on it. You know, back in March when we had the COVID thing happen, and we asked our groups to see how much money they could squirrel away during this time, savings on wages and such. To me, this is something that, the museum has likely saved some money. If I remember their letter correctly, they assumed, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was about $80,000. They were hoping that they'd be able to save with the delays in COVID. So, that's kind of my thought process on it, that if somebody's looking at putting some money towards this, if council is looking to put some money towards this, that we look at the thought that we ask them to save some money. We think that there's a lot of ifs here. We think that they have saved some money, and that could we conceivably match what they're willing to do up to a certain amount. That's my thoughts on how do we come up with some money to actually go after these things, and leave it to them to decide. They're the ones that are thinking what they're going to get the best bang for their buck. I mean, I'd love to see one of these, more realistic dinosaurs at different places in Tumbler Ridge. You know, maybe you have it one day at Flappin Falls, and a week later it's somewhere else, and people are going to get their picture taken with it. And you never really know where it's going to be, or so something to draw people into the community and then get them away from the tourist sites and then into the downtown core. And I think things like this might be a fantastic opportunity. I kind of feel it's a little rushed for us to figure it out, but that's my thought on where do we come up with the money to do this. And again, I'm not quite sure on the numbers and that. I never had a chance to get in to talk to Ms. Torville since Friday here about what we were going to do, but that's my thought on it. So I just wanted to throw that at council.
Councilor Lee?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm okay if the museum has saved some money in order, and they want to purchase this. And I'm not really in favor of spending extra money to bring these things in. The problem with moving them around town is because they're hooked up with cables, and that's going to be, if you're going to move them all over town, that's going to create a little bit of an issue, because every time you've got to move all that cabling and stuff for these things, because they do move. So I think that would probably create a problem. But yeah, if they can find the money and they have something of interest, I don't have a problem with that. But I don't really want to spend any more money on, from the council's perspective.
Extra.
Yeah.
Councilor Majinski?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. And my first thought was, how much are we willing to put up front for these? And how many are we going to get for it? And this is an auction, so there's going to be a lot of people are going to be bidding on it. Price could be quite high. The other option is to look at getting some purpose built for our community that are more period correct, made custom, whether it's $10,000 or $15,000, we get 8 of them, at $10,000 each or whatever, depending on shipping and all that other stuff and what they need to be done, because we have to take in consideration our snow load. If they're going to be outside, do they need to be covered? Do they have to be stored away? I'm not in favor of building another Quonset hut to store them and then transporting them all the time, because that is a lot of staff time, vehicles. I'd rather have them in a solitary place, maybe even on our interpretive trail or something like that. I'm definitely curious on how these are going to withstand our weather, and if they are all animatronic or if some of them are the solid state ones, and which ones we should look at getting, because I personally think that we should have Andrew Lawfield and Charles Helm look into this as well and have their opinion, because I'm no dinosaur expert at all, and I would be more inclined to have some here, but more of the ones that are period correct to our region, that were roaming the lands here a couple times.
Yeah, I agree. It would definitely make sense to have something else here. Councilor Kalk?
Yeah, so I didn't do a bunch of research on this. I looked it up. I think it was after council had Howard mentioned about it, so I went and looked at it. I know there's been some emails from John about it. They're actually not good for our weather. It states right in the letter we received. We didn't get a lot of the information till today, but they're not supposed to be good for our weather. It says right at the bottom for council consideration, not suitable for year-round outdoor display weather. So the concern I have there, I guess, is I think it's rushed. I think it's a great idea. I think Councilor Howes mentioned one of it. What the museum has saved in their budget, I can't speak to that. I do attend their meetings regularly, or at least get their information. But I don't even think they're aware of what they may or may not have been able to save. They did keep some of the staff working to clean out and prep stuff. And it's not like they haven't been working up there. I think the direction should be the staff goes back and looks at new ones. See what there's available out there. I just Googled, searched it, and there's lots available to us. Maybe that's something that can be looked at in next year's budget. To me, if we're going to put something outside, I would hope that we can get something that can be left out there. Same location, that we were not spending labor to remove it and set it back up. And then Councilor Majinski mentioned, if we were to buy 10 or 15 of these things, where's the town store them? Right now, I believe we have a storage concern from staff side. To me, we're building another closet. So now the expense goes up.
Councilor Norbury?
Thank you, Mayor. One of the councilors have brought up really good points all around. The only thing, maybe a few things that I had to add to the conversation is, where's the bargain in all of these? I've been to the Able auction website multiple times, and I'm trying to find what the evaluation of these dinosaurs are. I've seen the New York Post post about it. I know it's getting popular. So my concern is where's the deal? Like, we're essentially buying a used machine, used car, so to speak, right? It's not very financially viable for responsible to go out and say, well, we're gonna spend X amount of dollars, because we need to figure out where the value point is, right? Like, if some of the smaller ones where I was able to find prices for, and most of this is contact us and we'll let you know. The few that I found were $5,000 to $10,000 for the, I don't know, like the 4 to 5 foot ones, brand new. Okay, so 5 to 10, well, is that 5? Is that 10? Now, if we're purchasing them, well, where's the bargain? So I just don't, until we get a report back on what these dinosaurs are worth, we could be getting a deal, or we could also be getting a lemon that now we're stuck having to deal with. I don't know if we have somebody in the district of Tumble Ridge that can service these machines. I'm sure it's not, basic mechanic stuff. I think it might be a little more in depth than we realize.
Councilor Wojcinski.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on that too. If we do go new, at least we know what we're getting. We know the cost associated, like probably going to be a warranty. When you're going through an auction, it's going to be as is. And we're responsible for the shipment of it and how we're going to get them up here. And that's going to add to the cost. And we don't know those costs because it depends if we're going to get 1 or 5 or 10 and how many trucks we're going to get. So personally, I think we should do a bit more research into this and maybe come up with a game plan and have a set amount, dollar amount that we're willing to put forward and reach out to the museum and see if they're willing to match it or if they can look for grants or some type of funding to help us out. And then maybe even have some public input on this too. This should be a community thing because it is for the community. We should have their involvement as well and everybody at the museum.
Okay, Councilor Howell.
Okay, so again, my thought on this is not our decision as a council to make. The museum has the money saved away, and I think what we could do is, as an incentive, is that we say we're willing to match whatever you guys think the value is. If they think this hole in the head display is worth $6,000, we're willing to match you to whatever, half or 50% of what you're spending, or up to $10,000. That's what I'm looking to do here. Is not to go in and say we're going to give you 50 grand and let's see what you come back with. You guys decide. But we're willing to match you to 50% of whatever you buy up to a maximum. And I don't know what that number council would feel comfortable with. I'm thinking $10,000, $15,000, somewhere in that range. And to me, that's kind of an incentive for them to say, you know what, you've done great here by saving some money this year in your budget. And this is almost a bit of a reward. Here you can go get 50% on the dollar when you go spend something of money that you've already saved. We're willing to give you a little bit more so that you can find something that suits you guys. We might think that these outside displays are the bee's knees, but they might think, no, it's beyond what they want to do. They want this inside display or something. But one other thing that comes out of this that I find very, 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 very interesting is the fact that somebody is selling dinosaur displays, trackways, fossils, and they're making money off of it in British Columbia. How is that possible? I thought we were not allowed to sell fossils in British Columbia because I had, just thrown the idea out to say, can the museum sell some of these trackways? Can you go run the latex product over these trackways and then sell them on the internet to generate more funds for yourselves? And I was told that they couldn't do that. That was totally, maybe it was a, I don't know what the right word is, but maybe they thought it was an ethical thing they didn't want to do. But here is somebody doing it to generate money. And I'll be very interested to see what type of money those types of displays get. I mean, they are selling regular fossils from a lot of the stuff that we have cabinets of the stuff up here in our museum. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes. But
Yeah.
I don't know, what's council's feeling on that of matching them up to $10,000 say?
Yeah, I do like that idea of the matching and the partnership of it. My concerns are where they're going to store it. If they were planning on redoing the gallery, which I heard was an $800,000 bill, if we were in the process of that and one of these pieces fits into that new gallery, it might make more sense jumping on this. But I do like the idea of the partnership, and it makes much more sense to ask them to find relative material for their collection. I'm just wondering if any of council is talking to the museum about any of this collection, Councillor Norwood.
So, I don't want to put too many words in the museum's mouth, but, I also reached out to Miss Conlon, and, they didn't seem like they would be in a position to make a purchase of these dinosaurs for free. Now, it's sure we can sit back and speculate how much they may or may not be saving, but at the end of the day, I think it's up to the museum to decide their financial ability to purchase these items. I'd be happy to help them out, but that should be on them to reach out to us, I think, right? Like, hey, we want to purchase this, how can you help? Versus, us bringing it to them, like, hey, we want these dinosaurs, how about, if you want to buy them, go get them. Right? From my understanding, they are in the conversation as well, right, about these dinosaurs. They know about them. They're having conversations.
Councillor Kirkcalka.
Yeah, so I know I've talked to Zena, and I believe staff has reached out to, or the museum has reached out to staff. Again, I'll repeat it. I attend their meetings, I see their financials. I don't think they can absolutely say that they have saved money. I think they gotta wait till the year end is done and see what they got. They did keep staff, some of the staff working, they were still doing certain projects. They held off hiring summer students and some other staff that they have since hired. Now with COVID opening up a bit, they have started to do some of their hiring and get the trailways going again and their tours. And so I'm not gonna speak to them on behalf of their financials. I do believe if they were able to fund this themselves, they would do it. I don't know if they reached out to staff stating looking for help. Maybe something that Mr. O'Rourke could answer.
What's that? Councillor Howell.
Yeah, I'd like to put a motion on the floor that we offer the museum a maximum of $12,500 for the purchase of these dinosaurs, I guess, by matching 50% of what they spend, up to a maximum of $12,500. So just for clarity, if they decide they want to spend $6,000 on something, we play 3, they pay 3, up to a maximum of $12,500.
Second. Councillor Kirkcalka. Any more comments? This total, has the Museum Foundation reached out to you at all in regards to this?
No, they haven't.
Councillor Norwood.
I appreciate the thought that's in this motion. I'm not willing to support it until I know what the value of the dinosaurs are, and if the museum has a plan moving into it. We're 10 days away from this dinosaur auction, and for any money I think we're putting towards this, I'd like to see a plan in target how much they're worth, how much their maximum bids are. If I can see that beforehand, I would definitely support it.
More comments? Councillor Kirkcalka.
Yeah, I'll just support the motion. This leaves it up to the museum. This isn't council going and bidding or having staff go and deal with staff trying to find out what something's worth. I would think the museum has done some research on their own already. They were quite intrigued when this came up. I've seen a few emails go back and forth. I believe Mr. Powell was on the emails or was in email contact. And I think it's a good idea, a good motion by Councillor Howell to, say to the museum if they save some funds or have some funds that they can use, we're willing to match it 50-50. I mean, that's one, we're supporting our residents, we're supporting our community, and we're supporting tourism. Because not only locals go there, but we bring people into town, and there's nowhere else in the area where you can go and get that kind of stuff. I think there was a place in Calgary that Councilor Majinski was saying, and I know of one in Edmonton. I think council should support that and leave it up to the museum's board to say that, hey, yeah, we can cut here and here, and now we have some matching funds from the district, so we only have to come up with 50%. It's a great offer.
Councillor Howell.
And it'd be a real missed opportunity if this stuff went cheap. We have no idea, and no idea what the stuff is, but if there's a way for us to, I have been at an auction before where things went extremely cheap, and you're kicking yourself that you didn't have the money stored away to be able to get involved in it. And that's my thought process on this. I mean, they may go in and know they've got the money to do it, and they go crazy high, and then we've got an idea where the value is at. But it'd be a real shame if some of these things are going for $2,000 and $3,000 and $4,000, and you can get full life-size replicas for that. We have no idea what they're going to go for. So let's give them a shot to get something unique and a real key piece. I mean, this thing could go on the roof or it could go out. I know they can't be all autotronic or whatever all the time, but, you know, to me, I think mounting one of them on a trailer, tying it down to the trailer so it doesn't move around. You bring it out to Flatbed Falls, you throw some type of a sheet or something over top of the trailer portion of it to make it look like it's standing there. Kids are coming to get their pictures taken with it. I think it'd be a real cool, unique thing that you'd see a lot of press from it in Tumblr. We need something like that with our museum. It's boring up there. Sorry to say, but it's, you know, you go to it once and you never go back to it. That's what I hear from all the people that I talk to out there. And I know we've got a new group in there that are trying some new things, and hopefully that people will go back and see the new stuff they're trying to do. But, you know, to get kids involved, that's what they want to see. They want to see one that they can put their head in the mouth and get a picture taken with it, right? So,
Councilor Norbert?
Thank you. No, I think dinosaurs are great. Like, I would love to see some animatronic dinosaurs here, but how long are these going to last? How old are they? What's their expected life expectancy? Are they 5 years old? Are they 2 years old? Right? Like, are we just throwing away money at, you know, something that we won't know if we'll get a return on? You know, I think capital projects are great. This could bring a lot to our community. I think we still need a little more information on these dinosaurs before we start spending, you know, money that can be used elsewhere.
Okay, Councilor Wojcinski?
Thank you, Mayor Bertrand. Yeah, and if we offer or put out the offer of $12,500 to the museum, they can do the research and say, oh, these aren't even worth it. Let's just look at new. And that gives them the option and the flexibility to do whatever they like. But at least we're supporting them, and we can, and maybe they'll come back and like, you know what, we need a bit more money, 20,000. You know, that might be something we can even consider. Like, it's, if that's what the residents want, and I've heard it a lot of people like these, that they think it's a great idea. It's all over Facebook. I've gotten messages from it. At first, I wasn't sold on it. I just because of the unknowns. How much do they weigh? What are they? How long do they last? What's the cost? Like, even here, the surcharge is 17%. It's quite a bit. I'd rather pay that to a company that can build them. Whether they can be built in the United States, here in BC, just because of, I'm sure they can be built here in BC, just because of all of our movie sets and theaters and stuff like that. And they're big into the animatronics down in Vancouver, or, you know, even in Montreal. But we should definitely express that we are interested and we can look elsewhere, and not just this auction, and give the full reins to the museum if they're willing to pursue it, and give them our 100% support.
Any other comments? Call the question, all in favor? Opposed? Carried, thank you. Okay, moving on. Resolution to close meeting, recommendation that the meeting be closed to the public in accordance with the community charter, section 91C as follows: labor relations or other employee relations. Seconder, please, Councilor Kalka. All in favor? Carried, thank you. 5 minutes. Thank you.
Bye, Council.
See you, Jake. Thanks for coming.